And welcome back to the frontal commentary position. I'm Zarvox here with Garayan. We're about to see the match between Exodus and V0LTA. Both teams warping in at about 50 kilometers. All of their comp at 50 kilometers, so about 100 kilometers away on the side of Exodus. They have brought an interesting setup with double vulture. Etana. That's right, ladies. And Etana has entered the building. Double rook, double jackdaw, double harpy, and a griffin.
Yeah, and on Volta's side here, we have a double Barghest, a Scimitar, Cerberus, Gnosis, 2 Hyenas, 2 Manticores, and a Crucifier.
5 seconds until match starts, so let's see what happens. It's going to be a little bit of a dance, as both teams are.
I'm really looking forward to seeing this Vulture comp from Exodus. This looks like they're fitted with rails, so let's see what it's going to do here. We're already seeing missile guidance computers being dumped onto the Barghest and jams on the Scimitar.
Straight onto the Manticore of V0LTA, and we see that Hyena of TikTok burning in like a madman to secure some tackle, and that one Manticore has indeed been felled.
Yes, we're just going to see a lot of this probably with this Vulture and Harpies and Jackdaws. This is going to be murder on support ships.
And you can really see TikTok's experience shining through here, maintaining transversal whilst trying to apply tackle to, I'm not actually sure who. One bomber down of the side of Volta and still no damage at all being applied to the side of Exodus.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of positioning going on right now. I mean, they both came out at max range. It looks like that most of the teams are circling each other, trying to find that opening to lunge in.
Most cores holding back for the moment.
We do have webs, though, on the Etana.
Will they focus that Etana down? Etana
yeah, it's
has
coming from the Hyena, and it's being followed very closely
by... The Etana has now been grappled and webbed.
By the
Griffin
Barghest.
has just been volleyed off the field. Exodus's Griffin now removed from the field by the Hyena of TikTok, about to go down. Can he catch reps in time? It seems the answer is in fact no. Will the Etana has managed to break away from that double web, the grappler and single web. He's still being capped out, but,
yes, but also,
it's worth noting he is pretty much capped out now.
Yes, and all of his rep drones, almost all but 3 of them have just been blasted off by the Etana, or by the Barghest being plotted by Andy Gardet. All of the rep drones gone now, and they are laying into that Etana as hard as they can.
They're trying, but they're not really getting much done, and in the process, they've lost 2 of their bombers, a massive amount of DPS. They're 2 only bombers on the field and 1 of their Hyenas, so still only the single Griffin loss on the side of Exodus.
Yeah, we'll see if they're, is this possibly bait?
That Etana, they're still trying to kill him. They are still trying to, and it's now back to being double webbed, neutered. So he was tackled initially, managed to break away from the grappler and the Tech 2 web or regular web from the other side.
We're seeing a normal web and a grapple being placed on the Etana, and also Newt and a target painter, probably coming from that last remaining Hyena.
The Scimitar of Volta has been hard tackled and is going down very, very quickly.
Yeah, Starfleet Commander just got caught and butchered. So as that happens, the Etana,
the Etana
money explosion.
Ladies,
Let's see what's happening. Yep, another one down.
This is a very expensive ship that has just been removed from the field. Remember, these are real ships from Tranquility. That ship is worth about the same as a Titan. A huge amount of
limited edition, so another one off the books, as it has now been exploded in the tournament arena, as many others this weekend.
They may have lost the Vulture. Volta may have destroyed an Etana, but at what cost?
That is clearly, like, we are seeing a scenario where it could be was it worth it? And right now, I mean, another Cerberus has been caught, but for only Etana, a Harpy, and a Griffin. Now, while expensive, not that much effect on the team. I mean, all that's left here on Volta's side is those 2 Barghests and a Cerberus for damage. The Gnosis is just links. It's completely, all of its high slots are fitted with computers and stuff to make it go faster and make their team better.
He's also scrammed webbed and will probably not be able to withstand the incoming damage from the side of Exodus.
With no Scimitar in the field, that's really bad news here. And that Cerberus is pretty hard tackled and dipping into about half shields and dropping.
It really looks like the incoming damage from Volta to Exodus is quite minimal. Exodus are controlling this fight just fine. The Cerberus will in fact go down pretty soon.
Yeah, those Rooks appear to be doing a very bang-up job here, putting some very choice and critical jams.
Until one just got tackled, and you can see that once he has been webbed and painted, he went down like that.
Yeah, so I mean, that's going to make the other Rooks much harder, because with ECM, it's kind of a weight of numbers kind of game. And
immediately, the second Rook is now webbed and painted. He will also go down. Wow. Okay, so both of the jams.
Barghest just mag dumped on him. That's basically what happens if you miss a jam. You're kind of left with swinging in the wind, and they just unloaded.
I mean, Volta are down in numbers, but they are up in points, and they do really have wow. Another Jackdaw is now down.
Yeah, this is looking real dangerous for Exodus. I mean, the Bargists with their rapid heavies are able to apply their damage to these smaller targets much better than a lot of other ships.
We can see
with
this.
the Hyena still on the field with its target painter. It's just
that Jackdaw just went down without being scrammed or webbed.
That Volta, it was worth it. They were able to get the Atana, and also they're ahead on points. And Exodus is probably going to get bounced out of this.
What an upset! The Harpy of Daisy is now double webbed, neutered, painted, and I mean, unless these Bargists, if they are rapid heavy fit, they're going to be reloading pretty soon. But can Exodus drop those two Bargists? Oh, the Harpy is almost down.
Vultures.
Harpy is now down.
We're still seeing some rep drones on the field on the Bargist, keeping it up. I mean, at this point, with those vultures, they're going to have to go at point blank with antimatter and just hope that they can break one of these.
I mean, it's not looking good for Exodus. We were not expecting this. I mean, Exodus were really a fairly big favorite, I have to say, amongst the commentators to take this down, but.
Yeah, I mean, this is huge. If this the only chance that they really have to claw this back is to break through these Bargists.
That Bargist is taking substantial damage, but so is the Vulture.
Yeah.
The Vulture is going to go down in just a matter of seconds. He's broken
he's
one web.
and neuted and painted.
It's not going to matter.
Are off.
It's not going to matter.
Huge. Yep, and he's gone.
Sabotage is down. The last remaining member of Exodus, Wasamata's Vulture, is webbed, neutered, painted, jammed. And the Bargists, once they get their rapid heavies off reload, are going to melt him like butter.
Yeah, as soon as those reloads, especially with the Hyena still on the field, it's able to apply webs, it's able to apply a target painter, which makes their signature even larger, making those missiles coming out of those Bargists hit even harder than they already would. The heavy missile launchers are designed as kind of an anti-smaller ship kind of weapon, so battle cruisers and cruisers like that. So in this particular situation, especially with Hyena support, those weapons are going to apply their damage really, really well.
And we could see that with the support wing of Exodus being melted, even though they were not tackled at all. They were micro-warping around like crazy, but still dropping like flies. And it really looks like Exodus has no way back into this match. It's all over, bar the shouting, unless something crazy happens. That Vulture's going to be down in about
we're already
30
seeing
GFs
and local and good lucks coming from both sides here. And there's just a matter of time where we wait for this Vulture to get out of shields.
Wow. So Exodus seems to have been removed from Alliance Tournament 14.
Too many stumbles this year from their team.
It seems that way.
Yeah, I mean, they lost their flagship earlier last week, and not that it applied specifically to this particular match, but that's it. So massive upset here on the field today with V0LTA bouncing Exodus from the match, so we'll hand it back to the desk.
Doing the same thing as they did last time. They're just charging straight in towards the enemy. They have no fear.
Yeah, would you say that has been a top tier target calling?
I would definitely say it's a unique tier target calling.
Should be fine.
Nope.
I love you online!
V0LTA triumphant as Exodus exits this Alliance tournament, unable to secure, able to get a lead, unable to hold on to it. That match, total turnaround. Larrikin, you're shaking your head.
I was so impressed with Exodus. They had this. They just dodged the ECM ban. The two Rooks, which I kind of like, and the Griffin, and they took a commanding lead to start with, and then just kind of fitted it away. I mean, that's not quite true. I think their Vultures maybe not the best choice. I don't think they had enough damage to basically take out their targets as quick as they needed to. And I'm really curious about the Scimitar choice. They had all of that ECM on the field. They could probably shut down the Scimitar. The time taken to actually kill that Scimitar was time maybe better spent knocking more DPS off the field. I'm not sure about that choice.
And of course, them bringing the very powerful Atana.
I mean, incredibly powerful, but
just not really capitalizing on its potential, I think. Chesser?
Yeah, Atanas have been dropping like flies in this AT.
Yeah.
This one got grappled and molested by 2 Barghists. But there's an interesting kind of composition there.
You can say that.
The entire double rook setup is a lot of points sunk into force recon ships, which don't do a lot of damage. And what little damage the rooks were doing, they were missile disrupted the entire time, so basically nothing. They were there for jams. And you could see the jams coming through with the vultures rails being able to pick down a little bit of the support fleet that Volta was fielding. Everything looked okay. The issues started happening when Volta got 2 Barghest right on top of the Atana and just started wailing on it. And at one point, the jams did come through. Atana could kind of start moving away. It wasn't grappled, but it just wasn't enough. It fell down, and then Volta's core of 2 Barghest is much stronger than 2 vultures.
Yeah.
And you could see their ability, why missile ships are very prized in the AT, because their ability to shoot damage all over the place, selectable damage, and Barghists are very, very quick. They're faster than vultures, so essentially just don't ram the vulture, and you're going to win because you'll be forcing the vulture into deeper fall off if you want. You can move around the map. You have hyenas to hold the vultures down, and that's just kind of how you clean up there. Once the Atana was down, and Volta immediately switched to the jamming backbone and just wiped the rooks almost instantaneously off the field, the game was over. Volta needed to kill very quickly rooks and Atana, they did. And during that time frame, Exodus just did not get enough done. Just killing a little bit of the support wing and leaving the Barghists unhindered wasn't enough.
Let's see what they did get done. Coming up on the screen with the post-match synopsis. The damage coming across there from, is that not up on the screen? Let's wait while we bring that up on the screen.
There we go.
The damage coming across, really actually quite even for the two of them, which reflects that sort of back and forth that we had, but also just shows how little you have to do when you don't have as much as repping as you would have otherwise. There's ships just dropping here, falling off the board. That Atana.
I mean, look, that's actually very interesting. Look at the damage dealt versus damage taken. That was incredibly close for a team that got Wyeth versus one with 2 Barghists left. I'm pretty curious about what the fits were on those rooks. Like once that Atana went down, like the 2 rooks dropped so fast. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're definitely competing with mids. They need their tank as well as their jams in there. But yeah, they dropped so quickly.
Yeah, the other thing to notice is if you look at both of the vultures, one vulture is doing almost double the damage of the other one. So you kind of question, where was the damage there? What was going on? Because Exodus was feeling a very low DPS team, and the only way that they were breaking anything was with the Scimitar not able to apply any reps.
Yeah.
And the fact that they did kill the Scimitar, but at that point they lost their Logi backbone, kind of, bad there. I don't know if the jams were cycled inappropriately or what was going on, but the rooks were playing a really delicate game of, do we jam the Scimitar so we can kill the support fleet, or do we jam the 2 Barghists that are completely all over our Atana? Difficult call to make.
Yeah.
Lots of stress can happen. Lots of RNG as well, because as you mentioned, shield and jams both need to be kind of competing at the same time for the rooks.
And they're competing with their low slots as well. They want to, I mean, they're a significant portion of the Exodus DPS, but you also want as many signal amps as you can get in there to do as much jams as possible.
Yeah.
So signal distortion amplifiers.
Yeah, you really can't depend on rooks for DPS. In there, you could just see only one rook did maybe like 700 damage, so super minimal. Those missile disruptions completely shut them down.
Yeah.
And essentially, you were left on 2 vultures, one of which only had half the damage as the other one. You kind of question what was going on there.
Quite a shame, really. We've seen that double rook setup, or at least a variant of that double rook support, jamming support wing, work out really well for some
I think
teams.
Dreamfleet brought it last week.
Yeah,
They did pretty well with it.
Rooks can work, but Blackbirds are so much nicer because the point sink is so much less, which means that you can kind of beef up the rest of your composition. And I almost wonder if Exodus, in order to try and like weave in and around the jamming banning that Volta did, kind of ended up shorting themselves by going, well, we'll just go with rooks instead.
Yeah. A few things before we move on to the next match, that being Afterlife versus